Hi everybody, Jo here. Thanks for joining me again today. Now, as you know, we've been working our way through our calendar, and today we're going to put a design for September. Now, like I told you, I like to have a little play on a piece of card first. I'm not that brave to do it straight on my calendar. But also I want to show you that while I'm practicing the design, that it also will make a lovely card. So this I've popped on a card blank, and I just fancied doing a nice autumn wreath. Those of you that have followed me for a while will know I have a bit of a thing about wreath cards. I just love creating them, and I love the autumn colours. So for me, this was perfect for September. Now, if you haven't got a calendar and if you're not doing a journal, don't worry, because as I say, this is beautiful to go on a card. Now, I've extended the corners, but you could equally put this on a square card. A 6x6 card would be fabulous, and just the wreath itself. I've popped one of the birds from our bird collection, but you could have the hanging bells or the fairy charms. Lots of ways you could take this. You could pop leaves maybe falling across. This is just the basis. As always, I want to or my aim, I should say, is to just give you ideas that you will go and run with and play in your own little craft space. So I'm going to create this I say sort of, because you know what I'm like. I do find it hard creating the same thing twice. So I'm going to stand that up where I can see it. Give me a bit of a reminder of what I'm doing. And I'm going to start with one of our circle masks, and this is just to give me, so anybody who struggles with wreaths, this is a great way of starting the design. And what I've done is I've looked in my Elements ink pads and I've gone for two colours, and that's the Russet Orange and the Sundance. And these, I know we've had quite a few questions recently about the different types of inks. The reason I want to use my Elements, I'm going to use them for the basis of my design to create that lovely sort of warm glow underneath. Then I will come in with various Versafine Clair inks, and these are the permanent ink. They give beautiful fine detail, so they're the ones I will use for my stamping. So again, my Elements are dye-based, so when I've made my background, if I wanted to add some water splats and do some faux bleaching, I could. Probably won't on this design, but just to let you know, I could. So that's why I'm using these. And I'm going to start with the Russet Orange. And so I have a little pot on my craft table, and I've got my orange stencil brush here. And I'm just going to get my Inky Binky on my knee, and a piece of kitchen towel here. And the other thing I want to do is just pop a couple of bits of copier paper underneath. Just for me, it helps me with my stamping, but also if I'm going to put any ink over the edge. So just check you're still in shot there. Bring this back in. Sorry, excuse me. Right, I'm going to have this central, I think, above the September, so get it pretty much central. And as always, I'm going to dab my brush in my ink and then in the lid. Now I want this quite pale, but this Russet Orange is quite a strong colour. So this is where sort of try and be a little bit gentle, try and do your tickling. I'm going to hold that there, pop some on the mask first, and then I'm just going to gently, and I'm very loosely holding my stencil brush. And as I say, like to use that word tickle, because I think if you sort of in your head you're thinking tickle, you're going to be a bit lighter. And we don't want to come in too heavy with this. And I'm just sort of doing circular motions. I'm just going to pick up a bit more ink from the middle there and just come in a bit deeper. And this is a great way of practicing blending off. And this is the larger of those circle masks. And I'm going to come out to maybe an inch, a couple of centimetres. with the orange. I want a nice orange glow. Try and get it even all the way around if I can. Right, I'm happy with that. So I'm going to pop the lid on the orange, put that out of the way, and I'm just going to wipe this circle mask, because if I don't and I put it away, next time I pick it up I'll have orange and I'll have it everywhere. And the problem is, once you get ink on your fingers, the last thing you want is to put ink. So that almost the cleaner and the tidier we can be, the better. So I'm just wiping my fingers as well, because I had quite a bit of orange on there. Now, you might be thinking, that's not very even. And I know that. So what I'm going to do is come in now with the Sundance. This is such a beautiful yellow colour. And this change now to my yellow stencil brush in the lid. And now the idea is I want to fuzzy this edge. I'm actually going to use this line as a guide for my stamping, but I want to fuzzy this edge. So I've got a lovely yellow hue here and here. So again, I'm just going to gently come round. And as I say, this is just the basis. We are going to stamp, so don't be very tough on yourself. And I'm just going round and round, nice and gentle. And it is quite therapeutic. You'll sort of feel yourself going in a bit of a trance. And then nice and light, just here, a bit more tickling. And we've got that nice white bit in the middle. I think we need a little bit more here, just to even it up. Right, and we'll call that a day there. Pop that lid on for now. I may come in later with more. So I can start my stamping, and there are so many of our beautiful Lavinia stamps that we can use for this. But I try to use a different one each time I do a wreath. So I'm actually going to come in with the small branch. And what I like about this, it's going to be perfect to give me I want this to be quite a wide wreath. Sometimes we make quite narrow wreaths. Certainly I do more Christmas for my festive ones with the pine cone branch and the holly. But this I want to be quite wide. I'm going to use a few different Versafine Clairs, and the first one is the pine cone. And this is this lovely brown colour. Now, we've got to do some repeat stamping here. So you may want to make yourself a brew while I do this. And I don't like speeding up my work, I'm afraid. Well, to be honest, I don't know how to do it. If I was clever like Tracy, I could do it, but I'm not. So we have to have real time, I'm afraid. So my idea is the branch bit here, I'm going to pop on this and use this as a line all the way around. And so if I start here, look. And that, you see how it comes both sides, and I'm just going to keep turning my work. And with the calendar, it's not as easy as it is with a piece of card, because obviously you need more room. But I shall do my best to just keep working my way round, and for me it's easier to keep turning my work. You might be the clever sort of ladies and gentlemen who can actually turn the stamp. I'm not one of those, I'm afraid. I have to turn my work. And this is where I discover how little space I have. Are you the same as me? No matter how much space I have, it's never enough. And this is just the basis of your design. So again, don't be hard on yourself as you're working your way around. And I'm sorry if it messes with any of your heads as I keep turning it. As I say, if you've got a delicate disposition, you may want to look away now or go and make that brew. And if you're making one, I'll have one, please. A latte would be fabulous. decaf if you've got it, but I don't mind if not. Right, and I'm still going round, look. But all the time I'm being mindful to keep that branch just on this edge that we've got. And again, I'm being mindful of putting my block off my work, because I have learnt the number of times that I've leant on my work and I've found that I've had something underneath my block and then got a mark. And as you know, I've only got one calendar, so if I do this wrong, that's it. No second chances. Not like a piece of card, you know, when you go, oh, it's just a piece of card, I'll get another one. Now, when it gets to this point, I'm thinking, do I have one? No, I need two. So I'm just going to move this one a little bit further over so it'll overlap a little bit more. Turn it round, and I'm just going to pop back here. As I say, if we wander off a little bit, I do apologise, but we are working in this little space. And then the last one, so you can see how it's building up beautifully. And the last one we can just pop in here. So from this little small branch, if I turn it round, you've got the basis of that beautiful wreath. Now again, we're going for autumn, but this could easily be made into a Christmas, or you could put some pearls on for, say, a pearl wedding anniversary. I mean, again, just think of the options you've got. I think that's so lovely. As I say, the trickiest bit is keep turning your work. So I'm going to put the lid on that. And the next stamp I'm going to come in with is called the Oak Leaf Flourish. And this has two stamps, and I'm going to use the larger one first. And we're going to come in with the Golden Meadow. No, actually we're not. I tell fibs. Summertime. To keep the orange tones, I think I'll use the orange first. And again, I'm going to have to move this as we go. So what I'll show you with this one is, again, we're going to concentrate this time on the line and almost fill in on the actual line here. So I'm going to go all the way around. On this one, I am going to see if I can keep it like this. Normally I would move it round, but just to make it a bit easier for you to see, I'm going to see if I can. And this is just, again, to give that basis a bit more depth. This is a silhouette stamp. And again, don't think you just have to use silhouettes in black. I'm just going to add a little bit there for that shape. So, and this one you could actually use on its own. I've done a wreath before just with this beautiful flourish stamp. And on the Oak Leaf Flourish, there's another little stamp, which is a smaller one. And this is the one where we're going to start adding a bit more detail either side. So I'm thinking this is where we can come in with the Golden Meadow. And just add some, and the Golden Meadow sort of a yellowy green. And you'll see how we can just, again, build up that shape. And what I tend to do is work on the inside of my wreath design first. So I'm just going round with my stamping. And then I'll work on the outside. And I almost don't want it too symmetrical. So I won't necessarily, I don't want the gaps even, if possible, between my stamping. So I might put two together, look, and leave a gap there. So just working my way round. And again, it's just keeping that general shape. And as I say, trying not to have it too even, because what I'm thinking is, let's just bring in a couple in that brown. So we've got a couple of spaces, and I know you're probably shouting at me saying, when you were going round there, Jo, you've left some spaces. Well, I'm thinking where the spaces are, look, if I bring the brown in. So I'm just going to do the outside where I think, wonder what second generation, oh, that looks nice. So again, just a couple of second generation every so often. Maybe first there. And then let's have a look how we're looking. Maybe put, that looks nice because I've got second generation there, so first there. And that's a nice little clump. Let's have a look. I think another one there. Little bit of second generation. And just, we're working our way around, just filling in this design. Now we need something here, don't we? Just being mindful of how. And then just something here. We've got dark here. Just maybe there. Yeah, I'm going to stop with that. And this is, I don't want to overcook it, but it's just keeping it looking nice. So I'm going to pop that one away. And we've got a lovely little one called Mini Leaf Creeper. And this is tiny, look. It's just got a couple of little, almost buds on it. And I'm going to come in with Shady Lane, aka those of you that come to my workshops, it's Shady Lady. And a little tip here, I just really want these end three. I don't really want the stem. So when I ink it up with my ink pad, look, I'm just going to ink up in the corner. And if I do that, I'll just get those top three. So that's the idea anyway. So rather than inking up in the middle, and what I want is just want those little, just a little bit more detail. And again, I'm just going round. I don't want too much of this. I don't want to overcook it. But where I just want a little bit, and this is great to just keep that shape. So if you need any more, you know, to come out onto here, again, ink up on the corner. And there we go. Just because I don't want the stem, I just want these little mini stamps. The pound stamps are fabulous for these. Right, and again, I'm not going to overdo it. This is the bit where I pretend I'm a flower arranging. And then the final one we're going to come in with. Now, for me, I've got to be honest, I think that's looking pretty much finished. But I've got a gorgeous leaf 5. And I want to bring in a little bit of red. Not too much, but just to bring in, I mean, we've got the autumny tones, haven't we? The browns, the oranges, the yellows, but a little bit of red. So I've got the Versafine Clair Glamorous. And again, I'm just going to ink up the top bit. I don't really want the stem. So I'm going to ink up in the corner and just see if I can get a little bit of the red peeping out. And when you see, doesn't that make a difference? And again, we won't overdo it with the red. So I'm inking up in the corner. Just to get that little edge and keep that shape. I've one more here. And then a couple on the inside. I think we'll just have 3 on the inside. So maybe one there. And then one over this side here. And just a little bit second generation there. And I've got to be honest, for me, you see there, tiny bit there. Just thinking to keep that shape looks better. That keeps that lovely circular shape. So I like that. Now I want something at the base. Now do I pop something in the corner? Although I've got to be honest, I actually like that as it is. I don't think on my card, if you remember on the card I created, I've added a little bit of stamping in the corner. But no, I'm actually going to leave it. And what I will do is add a little bit at the base. So I'll bring this up so we can see. I like to add a little bit of stamping in this bottom part here. So what I'm thinking is let's come in with our Elements ink. Oh, the little robin's outside again. I'm sure he just waits. He's just sitting on my windowsill. I'm sure he just waits till I'm here recording a video, and then he comes and he almost taps on the window and he has a certain little song that he sings. Right, I'm just going to add a little bit there, look. Again, don't want to overdo it. Then we'll add a little bit of stamping. So we've got the red. Let's bring in just in this corner. And then just give my stamp a wipe. And I'm going to use the same stamp. I think we'll come in with a couple of orange using the same stamp. And then if we go back to our little leaf flourish and come back with that lovely greeny yellow, and I'm hoping you can see, what I'm thinking is if we just add a couple of these, just for that, to keep that shape. Yeah. If I just take that out, look. So that's the base down there, and I think that's really pretty. So what I'm going to add to that is some lovely little splats. And I've got my orange Posca here. I'm going to give that a shake. Now you could add some stencil work if you wanted in the background, but I just love this so much. I don't want to add anything else to it. But I am going to add some orange. I'm just going to come out. We'll go all the way around and we'll add across here and up here to take that whiteness off, but that's enough. And then just come down here and add some in the corner. Just a couple there. There we go. I do love my Posca splats. And then if I bring this back, we've got some lovely words on our sort of autumn stickers, and I'm thinking it does, one of the little lovely sentiments is autumn colours, and I'm thinking that because for me September we're just getting those lovely autumn colours in. Now again, I have choices here. Do I pop it in the middle? No, I'm going to go up here because then I like the way we've got the corner stamping down there. So I'm going to pop that there. And then I've got my lovely brown fine liner. So I'm going to turn it round. And just, what's lovely, as I say, with this being a brown, just do a little bit of a wiggly line. For our autumn colours. And I'm actually going to leave that like that because I think that's so pretty. Although I could add the little bird. Now, do I add the little bird? He does finish it off, doesn't he? See, I'm talking to myself again. Do I, don't I? Do you do this? I do this a lot. I say I'm finished and then I go, oh, but I'll just add this. And I think we'll stamp him in brown. And you look, my brown Versafine Clair is the one at the bottom. Right, now we just pop him on here. And again, this is the bit when you think, oh, I hope I haven't messed it up. How many times do you do that? Are you like me? Yeah. And he just finishes it off, doesn't he? So I'll tell you what, let's just get our pastel pencils out. Again, we like our little finishing tricks, and we'll give the white one, and we'll just go with a little bit of, now again, you could add, if you wanted to add some red, make him into a little robin, you could. Just going to give him a bit of an autumn hue. There we go. Right, I'm definitely lid on my pencils. Definitely calling that finished. Take that out. And there we have. So there is at the base. And there we've got our page. And actually I do think the bird finishes it off. And then should you wish, if you want to make into a card design, the same wreath design, but with just some extra stamping in the corners. And again, if you wanted to add a sentiment across the centre, you can. So I hope you've enjoyed that. And like I say, lots of possibilities with this design. And so many of our stamps are perfect for it. And if you've got the coloured Versafine Clair ink pads, it's a great way to use them. Maybe use some colours you haven't used before. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. Pop along tomorrow and we'll have another little crafty get together. You take care, everybody. Love and hugs from me. Bye for now.